Hello and welcome to the Staten Island Morning Show. It is Tuesday, February 7th. I'm Nikki Stanzione.
And I'm Don Smith. We're so glad you could join us this morning. Let's kick things off by getting a look at the forecast with meteorologist Mike Favetta in the Weather Center. Good morning, Mike. And boy, it's been a bit of a roller coaster over the weekend
really
with
has.
the temperatures, huh?
I know, going from some really cold weather over the weekend, now back to regular winter. But there's some milder weather on the way that'll come at us here in Staten Island later on this week, and we'll actually be able to enjoy it as soon as this afternoon, with temperatures climbing back into the 40s and maybe even 50 in some parts of the island later today. Looking outside right now, it is a chilly 31 degrees with a wind chill of 25. You can see from the College of Staten Island, clear sky across most of the island, and it will stay very pleasant through this morning with plenty of sunshine around. Likely some thin clouds develop through the afternoon, and our high later today climbs to 44 degrees. With temperatures that will be on the rise through this week, you wonder, is there any snow in the forecast? Well, I think that this weekend may give us a little bit of some wintry weather. We'll talk more about those chances coming up and let you know how the rest of the day's forecast looks around Staten Island coming up in just a few minutes.
Thanks so much, Mike. You know, it's funny. This morning, I really didn't feel that chill as much in the air just because I got used to that cold this weekend.
Yeah.
And then the sun beating down on my car, it didn't feel so bad.
Exactly. Yeah, I actually had a little frost on the back windshield this morning. Just a little bit, not much, just enough to have the heater or whatever to take care of it at the defroster.
Yeah.
So.
Well, listen, it's everything Mike told us last week it would be. So we have been going along for this very interesting, chaotic weather journey this entire winter, but I'll take it. Now, the nice thing is when it's sunny and it's dry, it's usually a little easier on the ride, but then again, all cars are also on the road. So
exactly. And when we go into Tuesday, seems like the way the traffic pattern is setting up, Mondays and Fridays are the lightest of the week. They're using the work from home, or they're just taking, time off, that kind of thing. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are really the heaviest of our days. Let's get you out to the maps here this morning and show you what we've got going on. We'll zoom in to the Staten Island Expressway once again. The westbound side is completely backed up here, getting out through just about Forest Hill Road, really getting into 440, and that's with that construction. Let me take you out to the cameras, I should say, from our good friends at the New York City Department of Transportation. You see the HOV lane is shut down. That's going to be for that bridge work here this morning, getting from Toad Hill Road through Manor Road all the way out to just before 440. So they closed that up first, and the eastbound side will also get into the action as well, probably about 9:45 or so, give or take 5 minutes on either side of that. Eastbound side, well, we're sort of a little bit backed up here from 440. The West Shore Expressway really out to Richmond Avenue, and that's all because of the long-term construction there with the bridge repairs being done. Let's continue on to the North Shore. Bayonne Bridge, excuse me, that is fine. Heading up into Bayonne. Goethals Bridge looks pretty good on over towards Elizabeth, so really no issues there. There was one other little slowdown here north on the West Shore getting into Arden Avenue, but it's just kind of normal stuff. Last week they were doing some roving pothole repairs, and surprisingly, with the lack of snow, there are plenty of potholes out there. When they put the salt down, and then it goes from 0 degrees to 50 degrees in less than 3 days. Outer Bridge Crossing back into New Jersey, that is looking good. We'll take a quick look at the South Shore. Highland Boulevard, we're fine. As we continue all the way over to the Verrazano, that's where we're seeing some trouble on the eastbound side of the Staten Island Expressway. Brooklyn-bound Verrazano, it's because there's a report of a crash here coming off of that ramp just before Bay 8th Street out by Fort Hamilton. So look for that here this morning. And your inbound Gowanus is still a solid ride all the way up to the Brooklyn Bridge. So again, roads are pretty packed here because of, I think, the Tuesday situation and also some sun glare too.
Absolutely. And those potholes, I got to tell you.
It's rough, right?
It's brutal.
Yeah.
It really is. And I say this a lot, but being from here, but having lived around the country, you realize just how bad the pothole situation is.
Yeah.
And so let's hope they get it cleared up a little bit. Maybe over the summer they can take a little more time.
Exactly, right. A little more repaving. Right?
Yeah.
All right, so let's get to some of the headlines here on this Tuesday. The FDNY had to send a large presence to Castleton Corners after a car crashed into a pole on Manor Road and burst into flames. The FDNY was able to extinguish the fire, which took place early on Sunday morning. Authorities say the driver of the car fled the scene and has not been identified. So still investigating that.
Yeah, and the NYPD says 3 Stapleton children are still missing, and now they're asking for the public to help find them. 17-year-old Zayri Rivera, 15-year-old Yelin Bousted and his 12-year-old brother, Anzel, were last seen on January 25th at their homes on Hill Street. Anyone with information on the missing children is asked to contact the NYPD immediately.
Yeah, if you have any information, definitely contact them if you can.
Absolutely.
A new report from the Citizens Committee for Children says Staten Island is one of the 10 New York counties with the most barriers to children's well-being.
The report says Staten Island struggles with housing and community resources, citing a high rent burden and rental overcrowding. They say issues with community resources is driven by a lack of sufficient retail options. I found that interesting. I wouldn't have expected that to be the reason for something like this.
Yeah, Staten Island has plenty of shopping.
No doubt.
You know, and again, Staten Island is Richmond County, not Staten Island County, but I mean, many people don't really know what the county is for some reason. So,
well, let's get some more retail going.
I know, right? Well, you know, there's always been, you know, they've always thought about doing something, you know, for years ago out by the Goethals Bridge, there was always a thing that they wanted to put a NASCAR track and more shopping or whatever. So it's, you know, it's a tough situation when you don't really have a whole lot of room.
Exactly. Not a lot of room, and you got to get the wages to be able to do it in the first place. So it's kind of like a catch-22. Well, On Your Mark is a Staten Island-based nonprofit that offers a variety of services to people with intellectual disabilities. Here now to talk about it is their Associate Executive Director, Jennifer Larson. Hi, Jennifer. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you for being here. Could you explain some of the services that you provide at On Your Mark to our viewers?
Absolutely. Here at On Your Mark, we have several programs across the island, namely day habilitation programs, which is where individuals would go once they graduate high school. And they can also learn some basic vocational skills and have an opportunity for lifelong learning. That's all over Staten Island right now. We also are one of the largest providers of residential beds here on Staten Island, with group homes with 24/7 care, as well as supported apartments where people can live a little more independently in the community. Our respite department is something that offers relief to families and caregivers. The whole point of the program is to give the parents a break while we have fun. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention our last two services, community habilitation, where we pair up one-on-one with individuals who live in the community, and we make sure that they can access and integrate the community just like you and I. And last but not least, I'm very proud to be broadcasting from one of our small businesses, the On Your Mark Chocolatiers. We have 5 small businesses across Staten Island, and that provides opportunities for our individuals to not only get employment, either through our supported employment department, or to develop their own skills while they're getting ready to work for a job.
Wow. So basically what you're talking about is what kind of leads to my next question, which is about the employment programs for everybody, as well as the residential programs. Talk a little bit more in depth about that, if you will.
Oh, my pleasure. So our supported employment program offers different levels of support. Something called Pathways to Employment is something where an individual comes in and they get to do 3 internships in the community to really explore what might be a great career path for them. You know, someone might come in and say, I really want to work in a veterinarian's office. So they'll get an experience there, but they'll also get to explore other opportunities. For example, maybe working in a restaurant or working in a library, just to make sure that someone gets a chance to explore all those opportunities. And they do get complete coaching for that type of a position. But we also have employment services. Some of our individuals have worked in various community partners throughout Staten Island for 10 plus years. And one person just retired last year. So places like ShopRite and Home Depot, as well as Verizon right across the street from us, or Rucci Oil Company, Dome Technologies. They've all been great to help us here with our employment programs.
Wonderful stuff, you know, and some of the pictures we were just showing, you know, you see the big smiles on their faces. It's just beautiful. It absolutely is. So again, my question here is, well, how these programs, you know, been able to impact the lives of the people, you know, they serve. I mean, like I said, you see the smiles on their faces. You know, it seems just wonderful.
That's a wonderful question. You know, I think that all of us can appreciate what it feels like to be needed, to have a purpose. And our individuals, you know, despite or in spite of any of their disabilities, we still work with them as we would any other person. You know, we have numerous employees here at On Your Mark that have come to us through supported employment, and we provide all of the same training, all of the same supports and requirements that we would any other employee here. And for an individual to be able to, you know, go to a job, follow a schedule, bring home a paycheck, and really have some independent access to their finances, that means the world to some people. Well, probably means the world to everyone, right?
Yes.
And then that can help people on their way towards independence. Ultimately, our goals, especially with our residential program, is to help people to get as independent as they would like to be. Some people might need more supports than others, and the level of support might change over their lifetime. They may require more support as they get older, but having something like the Employment Services Program is really a great way to provide that independence and also access community partners.
That's great. The independence really inspires confidence and purpose.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
It's wonderful what you're doing. I know so many people watching want to know how they can learn more about On Your Mark. Where can they go?
Absolutely. Well, our website is onyourmark.org. You can access information on all of our services there, as well as apply for a job. We are always hiring. I'm very proud to be a 25-year employee here myself, and we do have walk-in Tuesdays. Every Tuesday from 10 a.m. to 12:30, we have walk-in opportunities. Just bring a resume. Let's have an interview. And then other ways that you can support On Your Mark. This Thursday, February 9th, we'll be having a fundraiser at Jimmy Mac's. Just remember to mention On Your Mark when you pay your bill. We have our annual gala, April 22nd. And of course, if you have anyone in your life that you'd like to get some Valentine's Day chocolate out to, please stop by our store right here on Forest Avenue.
So nice.
Wonderful, wonderful stuff. I got about 20 seconds, Jennifer, but what's the biggest seller there in the candy shop?
Oh, good question.
You know what? Right now, actually, we've got these perfect little chocolate hearts right here.
There you go.
Solid dark chocolate, milk chocolate. We've got a bunch of things here. But
Wonderful.
These are ready to go.
There, we're ready to go, ready for Valentine's Day.
Speaks
That's
right
it.
to our heart. I like that.
Jennifer, thanks so much for taking some time this morning, and wonderful work you're doing there.
Yes.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So great. And up next, why some Staten Island preschools are getting over $1 million from the city.
Plus, we'll learn about the Better Gourmet Health Kitchen and its mission to provide healthy meal options.
And you can always find us on social media. Search for the Staten Island Morning Show on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and click follow.
As an Olympic athlete, I prepare for everything. So when I became pregnant, I thought I was ready. But at 32 weeks, I was diagnosed with severe preeclampsia and had an emergency C-section. Looking back, had I known the warning signs, I would have talked to my doctor sooner. Too many women die of pregnancy-related complications, and most are preventable. If you or someone you know is pregnant or recently had a baby, learn the warning signs. It could help save her life. Hear her.
Travel is part of the American way of life.
When we're on vacation, we keep an eye out for anything that looks out of place.
Miss your bag.
When we travel from city to city, we pay attention to our surroundings.
Everyone plays a role in keeping our communities safe.
Whether you're traveling for business or pleasure, be aware of your surroundings. If you see something suspicious, say something to local authorities.
Welcome back to the Staten Island Morning Show. Let's get another check of your forecast with Mike Favetta in the Weather Center. And Mike, it's like I said earlier in your first report, the weather has been really just a roller coaster the last couple of days or whatever, but it kind of just feels a little like early spring.
And I think with the long range, you're really going to see the spring-like temperatures into the next 7 to 10 days. We're not average for winter going into next week. It's really mild.
Wow.
But there may be some snow and ice coming at us later on this week into the weekend. And that's important, especially if anybody has travel plans or going out and about, maybe enjoying the Super Bowl at a friend's house. So with the weather models here kind of hinting at a little bit of snow later on Saturday into Sunday, it's still we're still uncertain as the exact timing. But here's Staten Island right in the middle, and you can see the white shows the snow, and then the blue offshore shows the rain. So there will be, I think, a little bit of uncertainty as to exactly what falls here across Staten Island. There might just be a little bit of mixing with ice pellets in between, but regardless, there's a good chance of seeing some of that frozen precip by the time we get into later on this weekend into Saturday and Sunday time frame. Regarding our forecast for the next few days, it looks pretty chilly. Let's look at today's forecast, though, because there is some very cold air that comes in by the end of the week, and not as chilly as it was earlier, and especially earlier this week, and certainly last week. But the temperatures today will be well into the mid-40s with a bit of increasing cloud cover. I think there's a chance for rain by the time we get into the middle of the week and the end of the week. Some small chances there, but regardless, 43 in Tottenville, a little bit milder than you'd expect for the second week of February, 44 in Bull's Head and 43 in Toad Hill. Once we get into the end of the week, notice that by Thursday and Friday, there are the rain chances. And as temperatures climb into the mid-50s, it will be well above average by at least 15 degrees as we head toward the end of this week. So Thursday, Friday time frame, yeah, we're looking very mild, even though some rain moves in. We've got details on what to expect for this weekend. Take a look at some weather headlines and, of course, your 7-day forecast. That all coming up in just a few minutes. Nikki and Don?
This is a very tolerable winter, if
Yeah.
I do say so.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm enjoying
Exactly.
it. But is the traffic tolerable? That is the question. Let's turn it over to Don. He's got an update on the traffic this morning.
Yeah, thank you, Nikki. Let's get you over the maps. Unfortunately, it's not really the greatest of rides here on the Staten Island Expressway. As you travel westbound here this morning, as you get out towards about Manor Road, that's that construction. You know, the last couple of morning shows we've been doing the live traffic here. You're seeing that HOV lane shutting down, and that is for the construction. It's really to facilitate the bridge overpass work being done. So we will head over to our cameras this morning. This is the westbound side on the left, and you do see that the HOV lane is shut down. Getting out in towards just before Richmond Avenue. So it's beginning to thin up there just a little bit over by Woolley Avenue into Victory Boulevard. It's really back towards Toad Hill Road this morning, just east of that, just really almost a parking lot. Let me see if I can bring up a couple of the other cameras here closer to Toad Hill Road. That's not really going to show me anything there. So we'll go a little to the west. This is at Manor. We'll expand on that, and yeah, you can see that is just a pretty decently solid ride here, no question about that. So give yourself some extra travel time. The eastbound side, friends, will be setting up here probably around 9:50. That's what the kind of the plan has been the last couple of weeks. The Verrazano into Brooklyn is very heavy east on the belt. That accident cleared. Just coming off the ramps there out by Fort Hamilton. Your inbound Gowanus is still just a parking lot. That's probably going to run you about another 30 to 45 minutes getting up into the Brooklyn Bridge. Let's bring it back to Staten Island. We'll take a ride here along Bay Street, I should say. Richmond Terrace is also looking pretty good. Bayonne Bridge back into Bayonne. We are fine. Still some congestion east on the expressway here coming off the West Shore into Richmond Avenue. That's a long-term construction. Goethals on over to Elizabeth and Linden. We're fine. West Shore is looking good. Our delays going north over by Arden Avenue have cleared up, and the Outer Bridge crossings is still in good shape. Make your way over to Perth Amboy. Let's dial in here. Highland Boulevard. Things are fine. We continue further to the east here along Richmond Road. Again, traffic is really going to be looking pretty good. The only website I forgot to put up here is the MTA. So let's bring them up here with the Staten Island Railway, I should say. All trains from Arthur Kill to Princess Bay board at the Tottenville bound platform. And that's through the rest of this week until about 3. So, you know, when you're kind of running late for the train, that's the last thing you want to do is get on the wrong train because you're not on the right platform. Exactly. So then just keep that in mind.
That's a scary moment. I've been there, and it's
not many times. It's not good.
Well, now you're in the know, right? That's the good
exactly.
news. Well, over $1.5 million are now in the hands of preschools across Staten Island after the city government covered delinquent payments. In a tweet, Councilman Mike Riley said his office was able to free up the money last week. 14 different preschools were owed the money after contracting with the city to admit students from the area. Some of the invoice requests were made as far back as September. Interesting.
Yes, so at least they were able to pay the money back. So that's some good news there. Well, police union officials attended a rally in Staten Island, urged the city to reject the parole of the man who killed NYPD officer Gerard Carter in 1998. Carter's widow attended the rally alongside top leaders in the PBA and other officials, including Staten Island District Attorney Michael McMahon. In a tweet, McMahon wrote, "Cop killers should be incarcerated to the fullest extent. Anything less is justice denied." So, yeah, I think most would probably be in agreement with that.
Yeah, I'd have to say, as much as I try to be objective, I think at the end of the day, we want to always see justice served, right? That's the bottom line. Well, the Better Gourmet Health Kitchen is a Staten Island company that prepares healthy meals to order online. Here now to talk about it is co-founder Christine and Louis Noya. Welcome to both of you. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Hi, guys. Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Morning.
Well, thank you for what you do. We want to start off by talking about what inspired the start of Better Gourmet.
Well, we've been around for 20 years, and Louis and I met. We both shared a common interest in, our health and staying fit and eating healthy. We were both working in, our totally different careers, but we wanted to, do something different. And it was always a passion, training and eating healthy. It's the only thing we knew. So that's it. We decided to take a risk and go for it.
We wanted to open a place that we like to eat at.
There was nowhere for us to eat.
That's the truth.
We were tired of changing. Everywhere we went out to eat, we would change, the meals. I would say, can you bake this? Can you take this off? Can you take that off? So, that was another reason too.
Yeah. And keep in mind, we were way ahead of our time when we opened. A lot of people were just scared of the word health at the time. So, it was a lot of trials and but for the most part we stuck to it, and here we are today.
Well, we're glad you did.
Yeah.
I always feel like you always know the sign of a good company or a good business is when the owners use that business and they're actually, they love it as much as the customers do.
Yeah.
Well,
It's always a bad sign when it's the opposite.
You can ask my kids, we eat better every single day. So sometimes, it's all they know.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. That's great. And again, like you said, you use the product all the time. That's my situation. Like if I go to the gym, I just don't know really what to eat or when to eat. Like, do I do it afterwards? Do it beforehand? So how are the meals on your menu designed and prepared for your customers?
Well, we have a wider, we have meals to fit every dietary need. So if someone, for example, exactly what you said, before you go to the gym, you want to have, some protein and some carbs, but you don't want it to be a big meal, to weigh you down. So you would have maybe a smoothie. So, we have that. After you work out, you would want your carbs, your protein, you would want more of a meal. So in that case, we have complete meals. Our concept is, we have your favorite meals that you would get at any Italian restaurant, Asian restaurant, Mexican restaurant, prepared better. So we complete the meals with a carb, a protein, and a vegetable. Some of them are wraps, some of them are entrees. But we have low carb, we have high protein, we have low sodium. So really, anyone can eat there, no matter what. And if you want to have a cheap pizza, you can have that too, but you can eat the entire pizza because the calories and the macros are lower than, a common pizza pie.
So if somebody says, okay, well, I really love that meal, but I'm lactose intolerant, or I love that meal, so you can really structure around somebody's particular specific needs.
Totally.
We're big on you customizing and having it your way, so that's the way we design the menu, where people could make their own choices and
nothing is set. So for me, I don't eat dairy or gluten, but I can eat every single thing on the menu and customize it for me. Leave off the cheese, add something else. That's the whole concept. It's for you. It's not our menu. It's your menu.
It's really for every body. That's
right. There you go.
There.
Yeah, maybe that's a T-shirt or something, right?
That's really the reality of it. It's for everyone. We have kids, we have older adults, we have everyone in between. The goal was to have these stores everywhere. We have 4 on Staten Island right now, and now we just became a franchise. So we're looking at prospects in Brooklyn, New Jersey. There's a lot going on right now. And we also just recently launched our meal prep program, which that is more where people could buy abundance, like a bunch of meals for the week, and we deliver it, and you have it in your fridge. You could just pop it and warm it up, and it's there for the taking. But don't get me wrong, we have the restaurant too, where you could get your stuff fresh and call in and make it right there. So our whole concept is fresh, made, tailor-made for you as well,
and convenient.
Well, that's just it. We make it when you order it. Nothing's pre-made.
Right. So with the 4 locations, let me just see if I get this straight. So you have a restaurant where you can actually dine in. Is that correct? With these healthy meals, four
we have
places,
4
right?
where you can dine in. And
then you also have like a delivery where you can order up meals and things like that. You can come pick it up, and then
exactly.
To clarify, we have 4 sit-down takeout restaurants. They open Monday to Saturday, and that you could order anytime, get delivered anytime. But we also launch a separate program, which is a meal prep program, which really brings you like more of a cleaner meal, as far as that, like where your sauces and stuff are on the side. And that's for someone that's really trying to watch their weight or on the go, and they need their meals. They don't have time to order every day. So that's the concept behind it.
Oh, I need this in my life.
And right now, till March, on our website, which is justeatbetter.com, when you click the meal prep till March, we have a code for 10% off. It's Better Prep 10. So Better Prep 10 gets you 10% off your entire order until March.
Nice. Oh, that's perfect. And just remind us one more time, how can people find out more?
So,
our website is www.justeatbetter.com.
Justeatbetter.com. Fabulous.
Wonderful.
Well, I think this is inspiring us to just eat better. So thank you.
Thank you.
Well, listen,
thanks for coming on.
Your health is wealth, and the truth be told is we've been through a lot of ups and downs in the last few years, and you would think that people now more than ever should be as healthy as possible. Now's the time. So if you're listening, you're watching, we're talking to you. Today's the day. Now's the time. Let's go.
Never too late to get healthy.
No, it never is.
Thank you so much.
You got it. Thanks for having
me. You guys are great.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Congratulations on all your success.
Thank you so much.
Thank you both. How much fun is that? That really got me motivated. I'm like, okay, that's it. Today's the day.
Exactly. And as I mentioned, when you go to the gym, I'm never sure whether to eat before or after. Right. So if it's all kind of laid out for you, you can kind of just go through the steps and continue to eat healthy as you're working out and continue to build up your health, which is really one of the most popular words today's language is healthy.
Sometimes you just need that extra push. My sister's a health coach, and she's always saying to me, you just have to just do it. There's no excuses. And listen, that's the most important thing, because nothing else matters without your health.
Right.
So
absolutely.
That's the facts. Coming up, why the state is looking to add more cameras on the Verrazano Bridge.
Plus more on what visitors can expect from a snug harbor.
And you can always find us on social media. Search for the Staten Island Morning Show on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and click follow.
Nothing mysterious there. These are captions. Open captions are the on-screen display of a movie's dialogue, speakers' names, and sounds. Theaters in New York City are now required to show some of their movies with open captions. To learn more, visit nyc.gov/captions.
This is the place. Hey! Yo! This is my grandson, Mike. It's his 18th birthday.
Man.
Wow! One of the best years of my life.
Well, when I was 18, the ladies used to think I was fine.
Yeah, your grandma, maybe. Oh!
Come on, man.
He's a smart guy, but I thought he could use a little advice today. Start putting away some money.
Call your mother.
And now that you're 18, you need to sign up with the Selective Service System.
Remember Jamie Thomas?
Yeah.
Heard he didn't register and was denied a job with TSA.
There you go.
That's it. Save money, call mom, and register with SSS.
Well, one other thing. Get yourself some better kicks.
Oh, Ugliest shoes I've ever seen.
Be the man. Register with the Selective Service System today at sss.gov.
And them socks, my God.
Welcome back to the Staten Island Morning Show. I'm Don Smith, along with Nikki Stanzione. We're going to get another check of the forecast here. We head back to the Weather Center. Meteorologist Mike Favetta. Good morning, Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, good morning to you, Nikki and Don. Hope you're staying warm on what is not so chilly February morning. You know, temperatures around the freezing mark, but we have plenty of sun today to warm us up. And by the time we get to later on this afternoon, some clouds will return here across Staten Island. And that does signal a little bit of rain with a few showers later overnight. But it's this mild trend that continues for the next several days here across Staten Island and really beyond. There's not a whole lot of cold air coming. It may be just in short bursts, but even still, it's not as powerful of cold air, certainly than we saw just a few days ago. Then there's a few rain threats, not snow threats, later Thursday and then again on Friday. It's the Saturday, Sunday that might have enough cold air to allow some of that rain to change over to maybe a little bit of snow or some freezing rain or some mix thereof. Now, going into this weekend for Stapleton and New Dorp, you have a little bit of wet weather on tap, but I think that most of the cold air will allow for some of that snow and rain mix to move in later on that night. So during the daylight hours, plan on just a plain rain from Tottenville and Westerly, even over by St. George. Sunday should clear out nicely with the mix of clouds and sun. Temperatures will be in the mid-40s, so not terrible travel, especially if you're out and about this weekend. I think we've got some pretty decent weather ahead. So again, it's a mixed bag. Mild weather, yes, but this is more like a late March forecast than an early February one, especially with highs on Wednesday, tomorrow, climbing back to 50, 54 on Thursday with that rain, and then we keep on climbing right into the 50s for Friday and Saturday. With a little bit of cool weather ahead for this weekend, notice how that by late at night on Saturday and Sunday, yes, there's enough cold air to allow for a little bit of that changeover to some frozen precip, but we're back in the 50s come Monday. So we'll have more on this, including what to expect going beyond that, because there is a milder trend taking us throughout the rest of February. Those details coming up in just a few minutes.
Amazing. It's making me want to go out. Planning to go outside for a walk. You know, getting outside, doing
activities. That vitamin D, right?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mike. And, you know, good excuse. If worse comes to worse and it's a little chillier or it's a little rainy on Sunday, gives us a good excuse to be either at our favorite sports bar or at a friend's house.
This is true.
Eating, drinking, and watching some football.
Well, I feel like when you say chilly, we kind of have to like temper that now, since the temperatures are much warmer to a degree than what we should be. For this time of February, you know, what does chilly mean? You know, is it 39 is chilly, or are we talking 25 is chilly?
That's a good point.
And also, you know, I almost feel like we should be, you know, I wonder if any of the sports books or whatever have any kind of prop bets as far as like when we will get any kind of like, I know we had miserable snow in Central Park last week, which was only like 0.5, like not even half an inch, right? But when we're going to get some sort of measurable snow, when we're kind of on odds that's going on. I'm thinking it's probably like a plus 2,000 or 2,500 or something.
It's all very subjective now. When you say cold, chilly, a little chilly, on the warmer side, mild, we'll take it though. We'll take it. Now, one thing that's clear is that either there is traffic or it's very clear on the roads. We have not a lot of
there's not a whole lot in between. You know, Nikki, as we get into the midday hours, let's go to the maps. We're now seeing the road work starting to set up because it is such a beautiful day out there. And this is going to be the Bayonne Bridge back into New Jersey, into Bayonne. We're looking at least a 1 to 2 lanes closed. Let's go to the cameras and you can see it there. So only the left lane is open getting back over to Bayonne via the Bayonne Bridge. So give yourself a little bit of extra travel time. It just set up as we were in break, and we were speaking to Mike about the weather. So, again, it's going to ease out here 5 minutes or so, maybe 10 tops, and you should be in pretty good shape. But just be aware that's there till around 2:30. So, looking at Richmond Terrace on the North Shore, things are fine, even out to the ferry here in St. George. We are clear along Bay Street, so not a whole lot of action. The action really is taking place here on the Staten Island Expressway. On the westbound side, the HOV lane is shut there. From Toad Hill Road down towards Banner Road. On the eastbound side, a little busy through Richmond Avenue. Well, that's the long-term construction, but that also will be setting up the HOV lane closures here very shortly. Let me go over to those cameras as well. We'll just kind of dial in and show you what we're looking at. Well, that camera doesn't really show us much. So let's go here to Manor Road. That's the one I wanted to see. So it's here on the far right. You see that westbound side is just jammed up now because that HOV lane is now out of service. We'll continue on and we'll make our way back to our maps. And it looks pretty good here at the Goethals Bridge back to Linden and Elizabeth, for you, the Turnpike 1-9, maybe doing some shopping there along routes 1 and 9 out towards the Walmart there, get some Chick-fil-A, and we go over towards the northbound side of the West Shore Expressway. Now, that is also seeing some slowdowns into Rossville Avenue. You know, friends, during the midday hours, they try to do some of this roving pothole repairs, try to get some of that done when traffic is slightly lighter. So you may run into that here on the West Shore. And that's what I did see last week. Outer Bridge back over to Perth Amboy is moving along fine. But if you're connecting with the Turnpike going north, there is some road work there between interchanges 10 and 11. So maybe you're better off with the Parkway and then gunning off at exit 129 and then reconnecting there with the Turnpike just north of the road work. Korean War Veterans Parkway is good. Also looking at Highland Boulevard, Amboy Road, things are fine all along the South Shore, so not a whole lot of action. But the Verrazano and the Brooklyn still fairly busy, exiting here off the Bell Parkway going east. There was an earlier accident about a half an hour ago, still trying to recover there, and some sun glare hitting the eyes by Bay 8th Street. Let's show you the rest of the belt. If you're picking up somebody at Kennedy this morning, looks great all the way out to the airport. Inbound Gowanus is still a parking lot. From Fort Hamilton Parkway onto the Gowanus here this morning. Or actually, that is the Gowanus through Industry City into the BQE, all the way up to the Brooklyn Bridge. Still a very, very heavy ride. Let's go to the MTA. Just be aware about the platform changes heading to Arthur Kill, the Prince's Bay, board at the Tottenville bound platform till 3 o'clock. That is going to be all week. So, you know, we've seen these boarding changes over the last couple of weeks. So doing some repairs there for some scheduled maintenance.
I think that's so important, really, because people who commute, you know, you get in a routine. And you start to know, okay, here's where I need to go every day when I need to catch my train, my subway, whatever you're taking. And so I think that to be able to get those alerts are really important. And keep up with that, really, guys, because you don't want to get on the wrong platform.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and again, you know, if you're a regular commuter, you kind of know where you sit on the train, and you know, and you get out to the same door, and you got it all timed out. But when they come through with some maintenance here, changing those boarding platforms can kind of just throw a wrench in the whole thing.
Exactly. Well, here's one thing you don't have to worry about when you do mass transit, but when you're on your own, it's about speed limits, right? Speed limits could soon be reduced across the 5 boroughs. Governor Hochul's 2024 executive budget proposal includes a new proposed speed limit, minimum of 20 miles an hour, except for school zones, which would have a minimum of 10 miles per hour. If those minimums are enacted, both of them would be 5 miles per hour less than the current citywide minimums. The goal of the speed limit minimums would be to further reduce deaths and injuries from car accidents. You know, I have mixed feelings about this.
Yeah. I mean, it you know, it's good on paper.
Right.
You know, when you say to slow down, and which you should. I mean, you know, trying to drive through Midtown. Trying to drive through Midtown Manhattan, or, you know, along Amboy Road, or even on, you know, Highland Boulevard with the traffic lights. You got folks going in and out, you know, crossing the street. You know, I can't see how anybody could go really any faster than 25. I just can't. I can't see it. There's so much going on that you need to pay attention what the story is. But you know, maybe in certain cases, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out if that passes.
It's interesting, Don, because when I was in Texas, I was just recently there, and the highways, all of them, I'm talking about speed limits, literally between 75 and 80. A lot of them. 75. If I was driving 70, people were passing me like I was going 5 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And I got so used to how fast everybody drives out there. And then you come home and you're like, okay, we got to slow it down. It's a different world out here.
Oh, yeah. Completely. You know, I mean, I think there's been a little bit of upbringing of raising the speed limits in certain areas in the tri-state from 65 to maybe 70. But we'll see how that goes. Again, you're looking at federal roads, and it all ties into the money and how the money is spent. And if you raise the speed limits, it's just a whole complicated formula. But the highways in New York City are 50.
Right.
So that's the thing, is that let's say you're coming in from New Jersey or out on Long Island, you come into the Bell Parkway or the Gowanus, it's 50, and they hold that NYPD highway patrol holds that Pell Parkway to 50.
And then you get
Trust
to
me.
these school zones and you got to slow it down even more. So, listen, safety first always. So we'll see how this all sort of pans out as time goes on.
That's right. Yeah. And, they put speed cameras in around schools. And speaking of speed cameras, also in the budget proposal was spending for new traffic cameras on city bridges and tunnels, including the Verrazano. The cameras will help crack down on speeding. The proposed legislation would also increase fines for repeat offenders, with second offenders getting fines of $75 and third offenders getting fined $100. So now they're looking to put cameras on the Verrazano, which in my mind, the way that I think that way from doing traffic that much is that if they're going to put cameras in for speed, guess what? They're going to try to put cameras onto the lower East River crossings for tolls. That's where it's going to go. And somebody's going to make a proposal because the MTA is losing funding, and then they're going to try to hit the drivers coming in from Brooklyn and in from Queens at the lower East River crossings, the Ed Koch as well. So if they can put the cameras in there for those things, who's to say they can't do double duty? I don't know. I mean, technology is wonderful, but
it is. But there's also always a consequence and a downside to it too.
Correct.
So
that's right.
We'll see how it all ends up going. But I think that right now, just always be aware. Big Brother's always watching, is what they say, right? So even when you think you can get away with something, don't try, right? That's really the bottom line. Well, the Snug Harbor Cultural Center and Botanical Garden will be holding winter break activities for families. Here now to tell us more is Puyang Taglianetti, and she is Snug Harbor's Visitor Services and Education Manager. Hi, Puyang, welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Oh, we're glad to have you. So talk to us a little bit about some of the winter break activities that the kids can enjoy.
Yeah, so some of the things that our children are able to enjoy here with us is that they're able to explore in our New York Chinese Scholars Garden, which is close to the public, but the students will have it all to themselves. They'll be able to run through, do meditation and mindfulness exercises, really work on artwork, whether it be botanical drawing or painting. We have both indoor and outdoor space for them. From there, they can continue to explore in our wetlands and in our woodlands, also on our heritage farm. And we have 14 botanical gardens. So there really is so much that's there to explore in the wintertime. And it's wonderful because they get to run and get some energy out. So it's fantastic for parents that their kids, even in the wintertime, bundle them up. They're out there, they're exploring, there's still so much to see, because ultimately what happens is that in the winter, nature is kind of using this time to rest, conserve energy, so that when the spring comes, you'll see the buds starting to emerge, you'll see the flowers blooming. And then if the students come back for our spring program, they can make that comparison to see, oh, I saw this tree that was sleeping during the winter time. And now look at these beautiful blossoms that are coming out, and they'll have their artwork and their journaling to accompany that.
Oh,
that's wonderful. I love this program as far as to get kids away from the phone and the computer and get them outside and enjoying nature and just enjoying more than what's on their phones. And it's, it's also important for families, to reconnect and connect together. A lot of times you see the families, at the dinner table, everyone's on the phone and not even talking to each other. So why is having these activities available important for families?
Well, as I said, these are students who are able to get out into nature. This is one of the picture of our, hopefully it won't be that snowy.
Doesn't sound like it will be.
But yeah, so the students are able to be out here. And as you said, so we're at Tech-Free Camp, and they're able to they're able to look in the Scholars Garden over there. There is winter jasmine that's already in bloom right now. So they'll see the beautiful yellow buds that are in there. These are conversations that when parents come to pick their kids up, they can say, oh, well, what did you explore today? And the children may be able to say things like they were able to see squirrels still out. They may be able to see nuthatch birds that are in there, cardinals that are still flying around. We've even seen hawks soaring up above. And then these students are able to see that, like most people think like wintertime, you stay indoors, you stay all nice and cozy, which is wonderful, but there's so much to explore on the outside. And they were able to bring this enthusiasm and excitement back to their homes. And as you said, so if they're sitting at the dinner table, they have way more to talk about and to share, because in their day, they explored a different garden. They can compare whether they were on the heritage farm, and there's still a lot growing on our farm because we have a high tunnel and a poly house. There are crop planting that's happening right now, and they get to see all the action, kind of like the behind the scene stuff that goes on prior to when people think of like spring, where nature and everything comes alive. They get to see the behind the scene they get to see behind the scenes action to then give them more motivation to come back even in the spring.
I love this because the tech-free environment gets us back to basics, right? You know, we always say when we were kids, we just used to go outside and play.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? But here in Staten Island, there's so much to see. And, you know, people that are not from this area don't realize the deep appreciation we have for the gardens and the parks in this area, even in the wintertime. So in addition to having that extra conversation with family, what else do you hope the kids will get out of the winter break activities?
I'm hoping that they also get from this that camaraderie amongst their peers. Because, I mean, if you think about the past 3 years, there was this separation. There was almost, for a lot of students, there was almost like an isolation that happened because whether they were working remotely or there wasn't as much happening outside for activities. And now that we have more things for them to do, these programs allow them to work into a small cohort because we still want to, you know, maintain safe numbers. But they work in a small cohort and they're exploring together. We do a lot of children-driven activities where we give them options to say, do you want to explore this? Or how about we take a look at that? Or let's go into this space and tell us what you see. And so then they work with their friends. I know in the past, my kids have grown up with these programs and they have built friendships from when they were younger. I mean, they're now 10 and 12. But they've built friendships with kids from when they were 5 that they still can't stay in contact with. They're excited because they're going to be able to go and play and not have to do any homework with their friends over the break. And you'll be amazed at how much the children really enjoy being away from tech, being able to have this autonomy to be like, you know what, today I think I want to explore underneath this log and then record it in your journal or do a watercoloring of what they've seen and get new experiences because not everybody may have done what's called an ink wash painting. And in the Scholars Garden, you're really looking to see something that inspires you and you're going to paint and get the energy. So it may not be an exact likelihood of what you're painting, but you're getting the energy from it. And the students understand that. They get that mindfulness aspect from it as well, in addition to engaging in some art.
That's fantastic.
I think it's wonderful. You know, anything you can get folks off of their phones, I think there's going to be a bit of a wave of that in the coming near future of, you know, people kind of down teching, if you want to call it that. You know, there's been reports of college kids and things like going back to old flip phones from 20 years ago because they don't want to just have to be constant contact with Instagram and all this other social media stuff, just to kind of just detox and get away from it. And I think this is a wonderful program for these kids on their winter break. So how can folks find out some more if they want to join in the fun?
Well, the first thing I'm going to do is suggest that people go to our website, which is snug-harbor.org. And from there, you can go to our calendar of events and you'll see February 20th through the 24th winter break program. They can click on that link and then they can register their children for the program. They can also see other things. So I know like coming up, we have on February, the Thursday and the Saturday, 16th and 18th, we have things like a glass house tour that you can do with a family. There's all the different events that we have, both for adults, specifically for children, or for families alike. They can get all of that information from our website, or they can follow us on social media.
I love it.
Love
Great.
it.
Thank you so much for coming on the
so much
show
for joining
today. Great information and a great program. Thank you for all you do.
I'm so glad to be here and have a wonderful day.
You as well.
Thanks, you
Thank you. Well, coming up, our good friend, our own Christina Bear, has the scoop on Staten Island's ties to the Grammy Awards.
Plus, I'll have a final look at the traffic conditions around Staten Island, and Mike Favetta will have one last look at your weather.
That's right. And you can always find us on social media. Search for the Staten Island Morning Show on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and just click follow.
As an Olympic athlete, I prepare for everything. So when I became pregnant, I thought I was ready. But at 32 weeks, I was diagnosed with severe preeclampsia and had an emergency C-section. Looking back, had I known the warning signs, I would have talked to my doctor sooner. Too many women die of pregnancy-related complications, and most are preventable. If you or someone you know is pregnant or recently had a baby, learn the warning signs. It could help save her life. Hear her.
Travel is part of the American way of life.
When we're on vacation, we keep an eye out for anything that looks out of place.
Miss your bag.
When we travel from city to city, we pay attention to our surroundings.
Everyone plays a role in keeping our community safe.
Whether you're traveling for business or pleasure, be aware of your surroundings. If you see something suspicious, say something to local authorities.
Welcome back to the Staten Island Morning Show. Let's get one last check of the weather with meteorologist Mike Favetta in the Weather Center. Good morning, Mike.
Hi,
Good
Mike.
morning to you both. We've got plenty of sunshine ahead for today. Maybe a few clouds by this afternoon, but in terms of high temperatures, we'll be running well above average right through this week, which is why you see a lot of rain and not snow on this forecast. Even the overnight lows, those are the temperatures there in blue, with the temperatures staying well below, rather well above average. Look at how even throughout Thursday and Friday, we are well into the 40s at night. It's going to remain, I think, milder than usual. Only this weekend will overnight temperatures dip down to the freezing mark, and that will remain the case going into Sunday. So the potential is there for a little bit of mixing Saturday with that rain and snow. Perhaps it doesn't look like much of an accumulation, if any, but I think time will tell. And then by Monday, going into next week, we are back in the 50s. Temperatures resembling more of a March forecast rather than one for mid-September. So staying quite mild throughout the rest of this week. Enjoy the sun and enjoy that pleasant feel here around Staten Island, as it doesn't exactly feel like winter, even though we got that Arctic blast just a few days ago.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
I'm starting to see a few of the flowers kind of coming up, and I think a lot
Yeah.
of things are confused.
It
Us
is.
and squirrels and animals and whatever. I think everybody just kind of really confused at what's going on.
The world has become very confusing.
Yes.
Thank you, Mike.
You bet.
Listen, we'll take it. I love early spring, even
Sure.
whatever, I don't know. Puxatawny Phil didn't think so,
No, but
but
Staten Island Chuck did.
That's
he
right.
said early
That's right.
spring. So here we go. He
We
was
always-
dialed in.
always go by what Staten Islanders tell you. And so let's turn over to Don now for another check of the traffic.
Yes, let's get you over towards West Staten Island. Chuck can predict the traffic too. We can't really, but we can say it's always busy across Staten Island, and it's getting busier here north on the West Shore Expressway, just as you get past the exit for Veterans Road, right around exit 3 or so. And I will show you why. They are doing basically some tree trimming or branch removal of some type, some gardening or whatever, I guess, maybe because of the spring weather to let work out a feeling here. So they're doing some landscaping work. That's the word I was looking for. So it takes out the left lane here just before Arthur Kill Road and Huguenot Avenue and exit 4. So that's why we are seeing these delays here this morning. So you're coming off the Korean War Veterans Parkway. Just be mindful of that for friends here in Pleasant Plains, Princess Bay, Charleston, and Tottenville. Just be careful there. Highland Boulevard along the South Shore. We'll start with that here. That looks pretty good. Amboy Road, things are fine all the way up to the Staten Island Expressway. Rest of the West Shore is quiet. Let's just go back here to the Outer Bridge. Things are fine back into Perth Amboy. We go further to the north, all looking good up to the Staten Island Expressway, Goethals. Into Elizabeth and Linden, things are fine. East here, a little bit heavy into Richmond Avenue. Let's go back to those cameras, as you heard me mention earlier in the broadcast, that the road work will be more than likely setting up just about now going eastbound here, and that's exactly, they are right on time. Those maintenance crews, they got things time to science. So there it is. The HOV lane is now shut, getting into Bradley Avenue, and that is for the repairs. The westbound side has been closed. The HOV line, I should say, for about the last hour or so. Not even that, just a little after 9 o'clock. I want to take you over towards the approach to the Bayonne Bridge, because the Bayonne Bridge itself has just a left lane open, getting about mid-span or so, and that is going to be there till roughly about 2:30. But as we switch back to the maps, you can see our delays have eased out, as I said they would just a couple of minutes ago. So the North Shore, Richmond Terrace is fine. So is Bay Street, getting out to St. George, all is clear. Verrazano, friends, is still a really heavy ride exiting off that Belt Parkway. Since we have access to the cameras, let's just come down here in towards Bay 8th Street here in Bath Beach. You can see it's a heavy ride as you get past that pedestrian overpass, and then it kind of eases up a little bit as you get closer towards, Bay 8th Street or so. Unfortunately, the camera there is out, but we'll go a little bit further to the east here at Cropsey. That's eastbound. That's still a little heavy there, getting onto that Coney Island viaduct, approaching into Coney Island. So we'll go back to the maps. I want to quickly show you inbound Gowanus. We're still a parking lot all the way through Industry City onto the BQE to the Brooklyn Bridge is heavy. One note here to make for you on the Staten Island Railway. Just be aware that trains from Arthur Kill to Princess Bay board at the Tottenville bound platform. That's there till 3, and that's going to be there all week. So just something to keep in mind for scheduled maintenance.
Great. Thank you so much for that, Don. Well, now you know what to expect on the roadways and up in the skies, but what do we expect from the stars? I'm not talking about the sky star. This the different stars. The 65th Grammy Awards saw all the biggest stars in the music industry convening under one roof, and some even on the roof, actually.
That's right. Now you can figure out what to listen to in the car while you're sitting in traffic. In the Bear Buzz, Christina Bear breaks down some of the biggest winners and some Grammy moments that had ties to Staten Island.
History was made multiple times at the Grammy Awards Sunday night. Beyoncé, who arrived late and missed her first award of the night, broke the record for most career Grammy wins, bringing her all-time total to 32. Lizzo won her first Record of the Year Grammy for About Damn Time.
And anybody at home who feels misunderstood or on the outside looking in like I did, just stay true to yourself.
Unholy earned a Grammy Award for Sam Smith and Kim Petras for Best Duo Group Performance, making Kim the first transgender artist to win a Grammy in the category.
I want to thank all the incredible transgender legends before me who kicked these doors open for me.
Bad Bunny opened the show with a hugely energetic all-Spanish ode to Hispanic culture. And a who's who of hip-hop over the years celebrated the genre's 50th anniversary with a 14-minute tribute, including Staten Island's own Method Man. The most coveted award went to Harry Styles for Album of the Year.
There is no such thing as best in music.
Viola Davis became an EGOT winner with an Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony Award at home.
I just EGOT.
She took home the Grammy for her audiobook memoir, Finding Me.
That was fun. I mean, my favorite part, I'll date myself now. My favorite part was the Motown tribute to Smokey Robinson and Stevie Wonder. Loved it.
I know he's going to be playing in the tri-state area over the next couple of months or whatever. So definitely get out and
I always look out for that.
See him. But, I like that EGOT. There's not very many that are in that category. The two that come to mind are Shirley Booth from the old show Hazel. I'm really dating myself. And then the other one is Rita Moreno, who's still going strong at 91, 92. She's in that 80 for Brady movie.
And One Day at a Time. She does the
new
One Day at a
reboot.
Time.
Yeah.
And also, I believe John Legend may be now in that category as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Nice.
But yeah, it was the hip hop tribute, I have to say, seeing Salt and Pepper and Queen Latifah busting out the rapping again. Busta Rhymes, speaking of, that man he still has it. He was going a bazillion miles a minute. It was interesting. It was a pretty eclectic show. And
where was Flavor Flav in the clock?
Yes,
he was there, but he had the clock.
He had
okay,
his
that's
clock,
okay. That picture I didn't see the clock. They always have the clock, right?
It was really interesting. I mean, listen, there's always the highs and lows on these award
Sure.
shows, so you have your moments. I always like to watch it back so I can forward the performances I don't want to watch.
There you go. That's the way to do it.
That's the way to do it. Well, and that does it for us here on the Staten Island Morning Show. I'm Nikki Stanzione.
And I'm Don Smith. We'll see you back here next week.